Amount of people saying this is rigged was crazy.
This fight was rigged.
Jake Paul dropped a shocking bombshell after the Anthony Joshua fight, one that somehow echoed louder than the stoppage itself. And if the fight was controversial, his words afterward may be even harder to defend.
A horrible concept for a fight. I didn't even watch it. I know everyone, including myself, was saying this is a lose-lose for Jake because even if he won, he would still get laughed at for it, which he is, rightfully so.
It hasn't even been a few hours since Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua wrapped up, and the result is already weighing heavily on a lot of people.
From the very beginning, I said there would be no knockouts in this fight. I was very, very firm in that prediction.
Jake Paul was declared the winner, but even for someone who understands his rise and appeal, it didn't feel decisive. Not to me, and clearly not to many others watching. The fight ended, the announcement was made, yet instead of closure, it left a void. The kind that has you replaying moments in your head, wondering whether what you just saw truly adds up.
Is because it's just boring. It was extremely lackluster, and that was an extremely predictable thing to see from a mile away.
Inside the ring, the immediate reaction told its own story when the referee stepped in and waved it off. There was no burst of shock or excitement. Confusion came first. Anthony Joshua was down, but he was moving, aware, and trying to process what had just happened.
You see this man visibly holding back his punches, where he would throw a punch and then he would just not let it connect. He would just drop his hand down.
Jake Paul raised his hands, but even that moment felt delayed, almost hesitant. The crowd didn't erupt. Instead, there were boos, scattered shouts, and a stunned silence you rarely hear when a heavyweight fight is decided. It felt less like a conclusion and more like an interruption.
When it was clear as day that Jake's face was wide open to receive it. Bro, this is disappointing.
Before the fight, most expectations followed that line of thinking. Analysts focused on Joshua's jab, his patience, and his ability to control distance. The belief wasn't that Jake Paul had no chance, but that if Joshua stayed composed, he would either stop him or win comfortably on points. The betting lines echoed that sentiment. The deeper the fight went, the more confidence tilted toward Joshua. That was the consensus. Even Jake Paul publicly admitted this was his toughest test, not his most marketable opponent, but his most dangerous one.
And after everything is said and done, they probably took home a good bit more than that. Ain't no telling. I'm hearing north of 80 million for Jake and anywhere between 60 to 75 million for Mike Tyson, from my understanding.
That context is why the ending felt so awkward. Inside the ring, Joshua was doing exactly what people expected early on. Measured, using his reach, and avoiding reckless exchanges. Jake Paul had his moments, but nothing that suggested an inevitable finish. When the knockdown came, it didn't look like the kind of shot that instantly erases a fighter. It looked like a heavy blow followed by a brief loss of balance. Joshua went down, yes, but he didn't appear disconnected from the moment.
This fight was rigged. I could be wrong. I can't even say that because in my gut, I don't feel like I am.
The referee's response quickly became the focal point. To many watching, the count felt rushed, and the stoppage came abruptly. In heavyweight boxing, fighters, especially champions and former champions with proven durability, are often given more time to recover. That isn't favoritism, it's precedent. This time, that window felt noticeably shorter. When the fight was stopped, it seemed like a decision driven by speed rather than certainty.
Why is he not moving like he was during training? He didn't hit the signature Mike Tyson.
By the time the second round began, the shape of the fight was already taking form in ways that didn't favor Jake Paul. Around 3:10 into round 2, Anthony Joshua found a rhythm that boxing trainers immediately recognized. He started controlling distance with a disciplined, probing jab, thrown not for damage, but for positioning.
For a year now, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, but all this shit's fucking great. You know, you see people whining and dining each other. You see people at Staples Center. This sport's rigged, for sure.
Joshua's lead hand was landing with a steady rhythm, snapping Paul's head just enough to throw off his balance without overcommitting. According to the live CompuBox stats shown during the DAZN broadcast, Joshua landed 11 jabs in the second round alone, while Paul managed just 4 punches in total.
And we saw it play out. What we saw here was a clear indication that Mike was holding back, not doing the things that we know come natural to him when he's in the ring and ready to go.
Jake Paul's response during this stretch was revealing. Instead of moving laterally, he repeatedly backed straight toward the ropes, particularly along the north-facing side of the ring near the blue corner. Commentators Todd Grisham and Sergio Mora both highlighted this shift in real time around the 2:05 mark of the round, noting that Paul's footwork looked less confident than it had in his previous fight in August 2024. Mora specifically pointed out that Paul's timing was off by a half beat, especially when attempting to counter Joshua's jab with an overhand right.
And we saw it play out. What we saw here was a clear indication that Mike was holding back, not doing the things that we know come natural to him when he's in the ring and ready to go.
What caught the attention of ringside reporters wasn't just the action inside the ropes, it was what was happening outside them. Several journalists, including Jake Donovan of Boxing Scene and ESPN's Mike Coher, later commented on the judge's body language during round 2. One judge on the west side of the ring seemed to be taking notes less frequently than expected, while another was repeatedly glancing toward the referee during exchanges. While not conclusive on its own, these observations were unusual enough to spark discussion after the fight.
Look, alleged, because you gotta say it right. Alleged, it's alleged.
Round 3 only amplified those observations. From the opening bell, Joshua started putting together combinations with growing confidence. Around 6:42, he landed a crisp left jab followed by a straight right that snapped Paul's head back and drew an audible reaction from the crowd. Paul absorbed the blows without going down, but his counterattacks were limited. According to unofficial CompuBox stats shared by the broadcast team, Joshua landed 18 punches in the round, while Paul managed just 9, most as single shots rather than sustained combinations.